Alofa, and welcome to episode 7 of Intersections Talanoa Podcast. My name is Ainsley Ayono. I will be your host today. I am the Intersections Journal intern as well as assistant editor. And today I am very honored to be welcoming the guest Julius Pelina. Julius is a senior majoring in business management. He is also minoring in political science and communications. And Julius is one of our upcoming publishing authors for our second issue of Intersections Journal, which will be debuting this spring. So very excited to welcome in Julius today. Hi, Julius.
Hi, Ainsley.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today, for making time and
Yes.
making that onto our podcast. We're very excited to have you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, and congratulations on your achievement, your upcoming publication on political turncoatism in the Philippines. So
Yeah,
we can't wait for that to come out.
me too.
Awesome. So, Julius, well, then, before we just get into anything, if you wouldn't mind just kind of sharing a bit about yourself with me, with our audience, of where you're from and how you kind of ended up over here at Brigham Young University, Hawaii.
Yeah. Aloha everyone. From to all of your viewers for Intersections Talanoa. My name is Julius Robin Pelina, and I am from the Philippines. Like Ainsley said, I am currently senior here at BYU Hawaii, and it's an honor for being a guest or for being part of this Intersections podcast. And being part of this university is it's always been a great privilege and opportunity for me to be part of this big ohana, like they said. And as I said, um, coming here to BYU Hawaii, there's a lot of challenges for me being an international student at the same time, but all of them were being paid off because of the opportunities that I am receiving and I'm getting here, especially for this great opportunity to be part of your podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Julius, and thank you for that. So, you are from the Philippines. Where specifically in the Philippines?
Yes, it is called the province. The name of my province is Cavite. So if you know Manila, where it is located, it's on the southern region of the of Luzon. So if you know specifically where Manila is located, you can just go down below and you can definitely see the our province Cavite. And I live in a town called Naik, from Naik Cavite. So yeah, hello to my friends.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you, Julius, and thanks for sharing about that.
Yes.
Before we officially get started, we like to kind of start things off in a bit of a lighter note here in the
Of course.
podcast.
Yeah.
A bit of a fun note. I'm not sure if you're familiar with any of our previous episodes,
Mhm.
but our last episode we had Jace McDonald on here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he graced us with some Whitney Houston, which I heard he
Oh.
actually got a record deal off of that. So I'm not too sure. But did you want to sing any Whitney Houston today, or you want
um,
to pass
I
that?
don't know.
Pass
Let's
to
give it
Jace?
to Jace.
Okay, give it back. Maybe we'll have Jace come back again and sing around too. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, like if you're, I'm a little bit nicer than our co-host,
Oh
Dr.
yeah,
Cruze, so
definitely.
I won't make you go through any of that today. But I do just have a fun, quick little game for us to play, and it's just a game that sometimes I just made up. Sometimes play it with my friends. It's just called underrated, overrated.
Oh,
So
nice. Pretty interesting, huh?
yeah. So basically, we're just gonna do a couple categories. I'm just gonna give you just a couple categories, and in honor of you today, we will do the game Filipino edition. So I'm gonna give
Filipino
you a couple
edition.
categories,
Give it away.
and
Fire
you can
away.
give us one thing that you think is underrated and one thing that you think is overrated in that
Overrated.
category. So our first one is Filipino food. So what is something you think is an underrated food and an overrated Filipino food?
I would say my overrated food, Filipino food, it's always adobo, right?
Adobo?
Yeah, everybody knows chicken adobo. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
adobo, whenever it is pork adobo or chicken adobo, that's always be my overrated
Wow.
food,
Okay.
Filipino
Okay.
food. But speaking of underrated, it's kind of makes me think about it. But I would say because I'm not literally a veggie person,
Okay.
so there's a Filipino food called ampalaya. I don't know, I don't know the specific term in English, but it was literally a veggie that's so bitter to taste. And my mom usually give us that food, which I literally do not eat that. So I would consider that food as my underrated food. So
Gotcha.
adobo as my overrated, and ampalaya the
Okay.
food with
Do
that.
you think you're gonna get any backlash on those ones, or you think your answers are safe?
My answer would be safe. Probably
Okay.
Filipinos will definitely agree on that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. So that is our first category, food. Good answers. Okay. Our second one is songs. So what do you think is an overrated and underrated Filipino song? It doesn't even have to be Filipino, but could be
Oh,
like adopted into being considered a Filipino song.
okay. Um, I don't know. There's a band that I really love. It is called Eraserheads, but this band existed like 2 decades ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know,
Okay.
but this band I literally love those songs that they have. Everything that they're releasing from the past several decades, I love those songs. I would consider all of their songs as a overrated song because I
Okay.
really value those messages that they're portraying on their songs. But nowadays, there's a lot of some kind of a music that doesn't literally go on my jive. Um, Probably that's only my own opinion, but there's some kind of a P-pop songs, a
Gotcha.
Filipino, yeah, a P-pop song. So there's some kind of a words or messages they're portraying that I don't really like. It doesn't reflect on what I am. So
Gotcha.
my criteria has always been on the messages that they're portraying. So
Okay. All right. Cool. Good answers. Okay, well that leads us just to our final category, which is your family members. So I want you to name
oh.
a family. No, I'm just kidding.
um yeah,
Try to list out full first last names. No, our last one is places. So
places.
overrated and underrated place in the Philippines, which might still be
In the
controversial,
Philippines.
but yes, yeah.
Okay. Um, I would say all of those places I've been, we consider all of them as an overrated. I would say overrated. I will probably the Luneta Park. The Luneta Park, okay, it's where our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, he has a statue over there. That park
Mm.
is literally well preserved. It considered as one of the national parks in the Philippines, and I consider that place has a meaningful part in my heart because there's a lot of good experiences over on that place. And on that area, not only the park, there's a national museum, and that national museum, like, it's a very special place for me because you tend to see a lot of different native artifacts. So all of those plays in Manila, the plays that I used to go during my childhood, I love those area. I would say underrated. uh after a few blocks from that area, there's some called Quiapo or Divisoria. There's the place where the commerce and the market. It's called a marketplace, a little swap and meet place in Manila. I would consider it as my underrated area. But moving forward on the positive side, I will always love to go to Luneta Park.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yes,
thank you, Julius, and thank you for your enlightening answers.
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll give you one more chance if you want to sing any Whitney for us, or you can choose an
um.
artist, maybe some Beyonce
Yeah,
or something, or are you
let's leave it to Jays.
still okay on the whole pass that one back to Jace as well? Okay, cool. I'll let him know. Okay, well, thank you, Julius. I think then we can just get right into our questions for today. So let's talk about your topic. So your topic specifically, it's political turncoatism
It
in the
is.
Philippines. So your official title, would you like to share your full article title?
Yeah. The full title for my research topic is, for my research specifically, it's political turncoatism, the impact on the electoral and social economic system of the Republic of the Philippines. So there's two underlying factor on the title by itself. It's the electoral and the social economic system on its impact, on how it impacts the turncoatism as the main issue of this research.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, I've read your paper, being on the editorial side of this, I've read your
Yes.
paper quite a few times through. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's wonderful, and it's really interesting to see, because I think I can kind of feel the passion that you have about this topic and about this particular issue that comes through your writing, that comes through the pages. And so I guess, would you like to talk about that more, of what specifically led you to writing about this topic? How did you begin learning about it? What kind of pushed you off to start your research and to develop your paper on this?
Okay, it has all began. I got the motivation when I was watching the 2021 what do you call that, the URC, the undergraduate research conference, and then I saw some of my friends from my classes presenting their own research topic, and then I was kind of like on the impression that under the impression that, you know what, I can present as well whatever the topic I can, as long as I have the proper instrument, that I have proper tools, proper resources, and I have a fond interest in exploring the Philippine politics. I really love talking about Philippine politics under the sun. So that's why I was kind of like thinking, is there any specific topic that I can discuss, an issue that is literally prevalent to the Philippine politics on the political landscape of it? And I came up with an idea on what is turncoat. Like from the recent 2022 election, I noticed that there's a lot of politicians in local, in national, in presidential, in all factors, in all branches of the government except the judicial branch of it, that there is an action called turncoat. And we know that one of the senior deputy speaker of the 19th Congress has defined what turncoatism is, but she is not only the one who defined it. From the previous Congress, from the 15th, from the 14th Congress, the bill of anti-political turncoatism has already been in place, but it has never been passed because it doesn't serve the interests of our fellow politicians, even in the House of Congress, even in the House of Senate, because they themselves they admit that it has been the typical action that they've been doing. And it is something that literally interests me on what is the implication. How did we start having this kind of cultural, not a cultural, but a political perspective? Why has it all started? Is there any laws that prohibits about that? Is there any specific constitutional safeguards of how it all started? And all other factors, and especially on how it affects with our fellow constituents, us as a citizens, on how it affects to the general public, and affecting to the entire social economic system, not just on the electoral side.
Awesome. That's really awesome, and I love how you said, this started out with the URC,
Hmm.
especially as we have the URC coming up this semester. I think it really is such a wonderful creative space and innovative space. That's how my paper that I published in Intersection started out at the URC as well. So I think that's awesome that it kind of forced you to start thinking about areas and topics that you were already interested in, that were already close to home, that were home, and to start critically examining it a bit further from different lenses. So I think that's awesome. So I guess a follow-up question on that then,
Yes.
did you have any familiarity with political turncoatism prior to researching it in this regard? Did you see it firsthand, or experience it at home or in your families or in your communities, or was this something that it came more from an academic space where you got to take a look from it, like you said, just via URC and all of that space?
Okay, it has all started when I literally saw on the news, and even at home. I mean, it doesn't even start in here, the concept of it, but I noticed that the politicians, even in our home city, like it is always happening. For example, this politician X, or who must not be named, he used to be part of this big political party, because this big political party because their leading political personality is the president of the republic. Now, after the president of the republic ends his political term, and the political party itself, it dwindles automatically, and it has all started with changing with the other political party, who is the current political leader. And if we define the current political leader is the person who sits in the executive office in the Malacanang Palace. And that's how they align themselves, because the interests of the president, as long as they are in the interest of the administration of the person or the president itself, they know that they can serve their interests, and all of their intentions to pursue their political will, for whatever that they're facing right now until to the future, that they know that they can serve, automatically, that they can benefit 100%. And that is all literally happening every time after the post 1987. But don't get me wrong, even in the establishment of the from the past several decades, turncoatism already prevailed, but not on the idea, or not on the extent that they just gonna change because of their personal interest. They're changing their political affiliation based on their ideology or based on their belief. But right now, and nowadays, it has been distorted, the concept of changing or becoming a political butterfly, as per se. uh, it is literally being tarnished, the reputation. And it's not the action of what an established democracy is, an established democracy such as the United States, because that is, the underlying principle of it is to copy the version of the American Constitution, since the 1935 Constitution, since the independence on 1945. At the same time, and it has not been implemented because Philippines is a personality centered politics, and we are, unfortunately, it is very hard to take them off from the ideals of this idea, the personality centered politics, because people merely by itself, it's kind of hard for them. And it's always the people who votes for them has the same, or has the um who has the last resort, or even I can say they have no choice, because the charisma itself, and it's literally embedded on the mentality of the Filipinos in choosing their political, um, the person that they want to vote during the election.
Right. I think that's a very well thought out answer. I think you're very well versed, well articulated in this space. It's really neat to see your research and see you talk about it. So, I guess another question I have is, in your research and in all of your countless hours spent researching and writing your paper, which is a pretty lengthy paper. So I think that's great. Is there anything that you found surprising or unexpected in your research, or anything that kind of took you off guard, or not really, or what's your experience with that?
Well, I was trying to correlate political turncoatism on how it affects with the political dynasties, and how political dynasties correlate with turncoatism, and turncoatism moving towards with the social economic conditions of that certain provinces. So through the help, or through the public database that I have, um, which I really acknowledge with, I am so grateful that I have those data. But as you can see, literally, those ideas, or those cultural norms, really affects, and which is, I am so, as per se, sad or disappointed, that it literally affects with the social economic conditions of the Filipino people on their certain legislative districts, on how political turncoatism, at the same time political dynasties correlate with each other, leading towards the social economic conditions. So it is all connected, which, literally, we can see on the modern political landscape of the Philippines, that literally prevails, and become a becomes a normal, or becomes a norm with these wrongdoings. Well, the question is if it is ethical or unethical. I would say literally political turncoats. It's very unethical because you are becoming disloyal and treacherous with your ideals, with your loyalty on your certain political party. And as you can see on the modern nowadays in the Philippines, in the 19th Congress, there is so-called supermajority. And do you think it is well, we're not literally gonna go with the supermajority thing, but on the idea of an established democracy such as the United States, we literally know that political parties, they often serve the best interest of their constituents, which is the interest of the nation, but not serving the best interest of the president. And it has a lot of political factors that we cannot we cannot say in this very short period of time. But as you can see, everybody is all welcome to read my my paper once the second volume of it been published.
Yes, awesome. Yeah, and our second volume, which will be published this spring, so definitely keep an eye out for that. So thank you, Julius. I guess then this is a great segue into my next question, which is about your actual experience in our publication process and
Yes.
what that was like for you. Like I said, I've read your paper multiple times on my end of things, and I always feel like my experience was with you was that you're very on top of it, always asking questions, always making your meetings, and so I think that was really great, and I think that prepared you well for it. But how did you feel on your end, and because this is your first time going through something like this?
Yeah, first off, I was kind of scared. I was kind of like afraid. Where should I start? Where should I begin? So right after the undergraduate research conference last year, that talks about, as far as I can remember, the theme was all about ikavama. Let me see the topic last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it literally talks about sustainability.
Mhm.
Ikavama mua, kavama hope. Yeah,
I believe
literally
so.
talks about
Yeah.
sustainability, and I want to correlate it on how political turncoatism, by answering its recommendation through a certain institutionalization or legislation of it, on how could it help with it. But moving back to what you said, my experience here for intersection, it's kind of like it's a lot of work, of course. It requires me to literally sit hours, countless of hours, read a lot of articles, read a lot of books, read a lot of or watch a lot of certain documentaries that could help me. But I am literally welcome, or I'm literally grateful with my sources and with your help, Ainsley, especially with Dr. Cruze, for guiding me with this. And not only you and Dr. Cruze, especially with my research mentor, Sister Falivai. Um, I am so glad that she's literally on top of me and helping me with whatever that I might be needing, especially any research questions or realigning whatever my arguments with the general thesis statement that I have. And with the sources that I have from the database, public databases, that help me literally to understand more on how it affects to the very bottom of the society, from every legislative districts, from every provinces, from the north of Luzon down to the last province of Mindanao at the bottom part of it. Literally gave me the idea that political turncoatism, its social economic conditions, and its impact on the electoral system um, has the negative effect on it. And especially, I cannot say more than enough with my outside sources. Professor Edmund Tayo, literally from attending the opportunity to talk with him, gives me a lot of broad perspective on how should I begin with it, on how should I realign with the idea. And Dr. Sister Jillian Blazard from English 315, I cannot say more than enough that English 315 literally helps in fulfilling this research project. And with my technical consultants, Katie Hawkins, for helping me fulfilling, restructuring the basics of the research by itself.
Awesome. Well, I think it's really great to see, you connecting issues that you're passionate about that are affecting your home communities with, spaces here in Hawaii and with themes that are offered at the URC and connecting resources and with mentors and all of these spaces here. So I think that's really wonderful. Well, Julius, I just have one last question for you.
Of
So
course.
that you're a senior, that you will be graduating next winter. So it's pretty exciting, but got about a year left in school. So any big plans for after you graduate, or still got plenty of time to figure it out? But yeah, what are you looking at for your post-grad plans?
Yeah, I'm thinking for a lot of options, but after this semester, I'm gonna go for an internship. So I'll be living off the island for a few months, be back for fall, and finish all of my credits, graduate by winter, walk by winter, or by spring to graduate, finish all my credits by spring, whatever it might it might lead me. But after I graduate, I wanna go with my academic training, and I really want to go on or pursue my MBA, my master's degree for that. Mhm.
Awesome.
And especially, I wanna explore more about political perspective. I literally love political science, Philippine politics to be specific. Every drama, every um, every news about Philippine politics, I am always more than welcome to discuss it under the sun. And I think it's already inclined with my blood, but it makes me literally alive. So that's why every time I think it has been my passion, and fulfilling this research study is a very big fulfillment for me to move on and to excel more.
Awesome. I mean, I think it's amazing being able to see just how much you light up talking about this. And again, I can feel how passionate you are about this. So it's awesome to know your plans and, your interest in furthering your education and pursuing your MBA and possibly pursuing this in the future. So I think that your hard work and your countless hours that you've put in here probably only the beginning, and hopefully will be a great, jumping off point for your future studies and, a place to reference back when you continue to go on with your research and all of your future endeavors. So thank you so much, Julius, for joining us on our Intersections Talanoa
As
podcast.
always, yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you. It was great to have you, great to learn more from you. And yes, we will be looking out for your article about political turncoatism in the Philippines in our issue upcoming this spring. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. Thank you again so much, Julius. And
Thank you, Ainsley.
thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in to our Intersections Talanoa podcast. We will catch you next time in the Coconut Wireless.